Hi
guys,
welcome to the Dive-In Pod. My name is Sheila.
My name is Lydia.
Thank you so much for being here as usual. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing. Please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our videos. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, guys, so
please
help us.
subscribe
And watch our videos as well. It does help us. Yeah, so today we have a very interesting episode that I think is very important and it's very needed in the community, especially here in Australia. And what are we talking about, Lydia?
We are talking about how to transition back into the community post a struggle.
Yeah. And this could be, you know, mental health.
Anything.
It could be anything, really. Whatever thing you've gone through that you feel like is traumatizing, or you feel there's a lot of stigmatization and you're trying to, you know, find a society for yourself or find a community for yourself, and like just integrate back. So let's dive right in. Okay, guys, so I think the reason why Lydia and I have decided to do this video is just based on what we observe in the community and what has been happening.
The recent events.
A lot of people are struggling with mental health issues. A lot of people have gone through, you know, cyberbullying, depression, postpartum depression. You know, some people have become, unfortunately, have passed away from suicide. Some people are, you know, still kind of getting professional help because of being suicidal. And you know, sometimes when people know about your struggle, it can really be difficult to get back into the society. And the community is a very important aspect of life. We all need some kind of community around, to be around, you know, for different kinds of support, you know, for socialization, you know, just to know that there are people you can talk to and people who can support you. And if you can't get back into the community, unfortunately, you end up relapsing and just going back into whatever you're struggling with over and over again because you're scared to come out, you know, or you're scared to come back and say, look, I went through this, I'm better now, and actually, you know, live your life openly. You know what I mean? So that's why we decided to do this video. I think what a lot of people have gone through a struggle, we're just going to say a struggle because there are different types or there are different kinds of struggles, is the most important thing is acknowledging your struggle, acknowledging what you've gone through, you know, what caused it, you know, how did it affect you? You know, how have you been able to go through it? You know, like how have you navigated it, and where are you at? I think that's very important because if you don't know the triggers, for instance, or the things that are just gonna be every time you see it, it kind of reminds you what you've gone through. You might end up relapsing, isn't it? Over and over again. So if you've gone through a struggle, and for example, if you've you know, if you've struggled with alcoholism, like, you know, excessive consumption of alcohol, you've gone to rehab, you have recovered, you feel well. Obviously, surrounding yourself with people who are drinking alcohol is not the best way. This is just an example. Or, you know, so you have to really acknowledge your struggle. You have to know what caused it. The things that trigger it, so you can be able to protect yourself, you know, so you can be able to stay away from the things that can make you step back. Isn't it?
That's true.
And
also, when you realize what caused, you know, the struggle that you're in, I feel like it's beneficial to ask yourself, like, are you ready to heal? Obviously, you have already taken a step of healing if you're actually considering to transition into the community and getting to know, you know, getting your place back into the community. But like, are you healing? Like,
where are you at?
Where are you at exactly?
Because, sorry to cut you, Lydia. See how, for instance, if you're, let's just use drugs and alcohol. If you're struggling with drugs and alcohol and you identify it and seek professional help, you've gone to rehab, you know, you feel well, but you don't feel ready to come back into the community and hang out with people who are maybe drinking, you shouldn't. You know, like, just be honest with yourself. Because by so doing again, you'll just go back. You know?
That's true.
So like Lydia said, just understanding where you're at with your healing process and be honest with yourself. You know, if you feel, not ready, if you feel, no, I could use more professional help, ask for it. You know, just be honest, because you're actually doing amazing by the fact that you've started the healing process,
Right.
or the fact that you've started rehab, you know, or have a social group that does help you.
Yeah. Just take your time.
Take your time, and seek professional help.
Exactly. Yeah, seek professional help. I feel like that is the safest way of like sharing where you're at. Sometimes it's very hard to actually just tell someone who is related to you or is a friend or someone that knows you. Sometimes it's very hard to share with them where you're at because, like you said, alcoholism, for example, there are people who actually relapse, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, you've done so well and then you relapse, you feel like it's so hard for you to share with somebody that cares about you because you feel like you've disappointed them again.
100%.
But, you know, if you tell a professional, they'll be more understanding, you know?
So there are steps that, you know, Lydia and I, from experience with, you know, people close to us, we think, you know, someone should take. While getting back into the community, you know, like, and the first one is obviously, like we said, are you ready? You know, look, there is a lot of stigmatization, there's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of cyberbullying, there's a lot of just traumatizing,
really,
like extra traumatizing stuff that people will do just because they know your struggle. Like, you know, you could walk into a room and they're like, oh, look at him. He's, you know, he has issues, you know, he drinks too much. Or, you know, this person, can you believe this person uses drugs, you know? And maybe you are healing and you are nearly out of it. So by asking yourself if you're ready to come back into the community, it's like, how are you going to deal with such instances? How are you going to deal with people who are not, you know, people who are not courteous enough to just give you grace and allow you back as the person you are, not the struggle you're going through. Yeah, you want people to see you for who you are. You don't want people to see you for the struggles you've gone through. So one thing you need to realize is, I feel, you can't control what other people will say or their actions. You can't. But what you can control is yourself. Isn't it? I used to have a friend, a close person in the family actually, who struggled with drugs a lot. And then at some point, he went to rehab. He was well. When he came back, he was ready because, you know, there was a lot of drama and talking in the community about him. And then, but he was ready to come back, you know, like he was ready to integrate back into the society. It was all good. But then unfortunately, you know, like most people, he relapsed. And I think the second time coming into the community was harder because it was like these people said, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna succeed in this healing process, that I'm not gonna come out of drugs. And I actually gave them that, you know. It's like, walisema na kweli kafanyika, you know. So therefore he went back to drugs. So he felt like, oh shit, you know, they were right. So the second time he came, it was more harder because he needed a lot of reassurance that, you know, whatever they say doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go back to it. So I think it's so important to just accept and be on your own journey by yourself. Because people are going to say whatever they want to say. You can't control their actions.
That's true. And also, I think another thing is just to be able to have love for self to the point where if you're not ready to share something, you are okay within yourself, to just keep it to yourself up until the day that you share it with someone. For example, this is just like an example, you know, there are people who cannot just be by themselves. You know how there are people who are very attached to people. They probably want a person to be in a relationship. They want to be in a relationship with a person all the time, just so they can share and kind of validate themselves. So sometimes just having that love for yourself, not being necessarily in a relationship, like all the time, is a good thing to just be alone. Sometimes it really helps you get grounded. You really are grounded to the point where when you get into a relationship, you don't expect this person to be your solid rock. Or your happiness. Exactly. You don't expect this person, or you don't even suffocate this person with your expectations of who they should be in your life, because you within yourself, you can stand on your own, and you know that you can handle yourself. Does that make sense?
I love that. It does make sense. You know, to add on what Lydia says, it's so unfortunate. Like, for example, let's talk about toxic relationships in terms people struggle with being in toxic relationships. And then when they remove themselves, instead of taking time to be alone, to heal, to, you know, to kind of just, you know, find themselves, they get into another relationship
Quickly.
because to them, they need someone to always validate them, to always, like, for them to feel valued, they need someone else there. You know what I mean? And that person literally just masks what is underneath that you should be sitting down and dealing with by yourself. You know, like just healing by yourself. So I think it's very important that you take your own time. Sadly, some people just hop from one toxic relationship to another toxic relationship, last there for, you know, a few months, another toxic relationship, which is so unfortunate. But that happens when you haven't taken time to just be alone, to spend time by yourself.
That's true.
So I think it's very important. I think professional help. Like finding a support system, like professional, like support group, but professionally. You know, support does not necessarily mean friends. Doesn't necessarily mean community. People in the community, just random people, like people you know. It could just mean like a counselor, you know, a therapist that you're close with, that you spend time with, you know, someone that if you feel some type of way, if you feel like you're about to relapse, if you feel like, you know, you're stepping back, you can reach out to. Or even if you feel like, you know, I'm not ready to go back in the society, they can help you navigate that.
Exactly.
So, I think a lot of times we talk about support groups as just, you know, church, people you know, Kenyan groups, whatever, or any other culture group. But then they end up failing you because they're not professionally trained to support you. So you can have friends and family who are really, you know, for you and support you, but
they don't have the tools.
That's it. And then they might actually end up causing more damage.
Exactly.
They might give you false hope. They might give you shortcuts. And then before you know it, you've just 10 steps behind.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
It's and also this is like the other side of the coin in terms of like the community towards people who are trying to transition back. Like be kind.
100%.
Be present. Be, you know, patient. How people, you know, of course people who are transitioning have a harder time, you know, communicating and all that. Be patient. Be nice. Be kind. And sometimes you might meet somebody that you've heard something about. Like, for example, if I had something about Sheila and I've never met Sheila personally, somebody has showed me a picture, because people in the community talk. Like, if you see, if I met Sheila and I've heard something about her, don't be that kind of a person who kind of stigmatizes someone and says, hey, you know that person, something. Be kind. Be kind enough to say, hi Sheila, how are you? Even if you don't know her, just
be
say
the
hi.
one to make them feel comfortable.
Exactly. It's for them to be the one who actually makes this person want to give the community one more shot.
True. You know, because what actually happens is, the reason why we did this video is because if these people who have gone through a healing process, when they try and come into the community, if they are not accepted, they go back and isolate themselves.
Exactly.
And the next thing you know, someone's committed suicide. And that's just a young person, or, you know, you just lose someone because they could not navigate getting back into the society. And I think as a society, we play a big role. I mean, this is what I always say. Think about it this way. Every time I go to a Kenyan, like if I go, for example, to a Kenyan community and someone has brought their partner who's not Kenyan, I always make it a point to make them feel
comfortable.
I'm always going there saying, hi, how are you? Where are you from? Whatever, are you okay? Do you want to try this? Because when you're new in a place, if someone doesn't make you feel welcomed, you will just sit in that corner. And the next thing you'll be like, I don't want to go to those parties because I don't know anyone there. You know, but if you're that person who reaches out, if you see someone who you know has gone through something, it could be postpartum depression, it could be domestic violence, and let's say it was so bad, it was in the news and everyone talked about it. obviously this couple or this woman or man will be, will feel embarrassed, to come, into the social groups. If you see them make a point, or they're trying and they've actually come, I think the best thing you can do is just reach out to them. Don't necessarily talk about anything. Just, hi, how are you? Welcome. Do you want to come and sit with us? Like just the random acts of kindness that can actually make anybody feel comfortable.
Yeah.
This goes out to even like new students who've come in. If we meet someone new, like Lydia and I, every time we meet someone and they go, oh, I've watched your diving pod, and we're like, oh, have you? And then we're like, oh, they go, oh, how long have you guys been in Australia? And we'll be like, oh, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh my God, I'm looking for a job. The best thing we can do is give them a few names of companies.
Exactly.
And we like, go make your resume and send them to this company. Like, do your part.
Yeah.
Like
Support
help
them.
people however much you can. You don't have to be there everything.
Yeah.
You have to give them money, but just, just do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
and
kindness.
it could go a long way,
Yeah.
it could really go a long way. It is so unfortunate that people come from rehabs here in Australia, people come from jail, and because of what people know about them, they just literally go back into what they did before.
Yeah. They just disappear again.
Because they are scared, because there is no one to support them, you know. There's a lot we can talk about when it comes to mental health, but hopefully we are trying to find like a mental health specialist or a consultant who can come in and talk to us, because whatever is happening in the community is not really good. We have people who have been cyberbullied, and now they don't want anything to do with the community, which the community is meant to help them. When you go to a new country, the first thing you do is find your community.
Exactly.
You find your people. And if your people are the one who are bullying you and pushing your way, then you just feel like you're alone in this world. And then people end up being depressed, having mental health issues, committing suicide. It's really sad.
I know.
But if you ever need any help, we are here. Reach out to us.
DM us.
Send us a message on Instagram or YouTube. Leave a comment, and we will help you where we can. And if we can't, we will try and find help. Yeah, that's all for today. And if you're out there and you've gone through any struggle, use the tips we've given below, or we've given in this video. We'll put some links, for the professional help that you can get here in Australia. Also, for international students, you have a insurance card. You pay for insurance, use it. If you go to a GP and you say you want to see a therapist, you want to see a counselor, they will refer you. And some of them are covered with your insurance. So please use the insurance. You paid for it, and you can get professional help. So thank you guys for watching again. We hope you're happy where you are. We hope you feel supported. You feel loved. If you need any help, like we said before, reach out to us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.